welcome to your Unit 2 test review. Here, this is going to be a little bit of a test prep, or I could say a study guide for your test in Unit 2. So let's take a look at what we're going to look. Please take out your math notebook and write down what we do as we go along. So for every problem that I put up, you could probably pause it, do the work, and then play it to check that you did it correctly. That would be a good way to study for your test. Okay, let's get started. So we've actually learned quite a bit in Unit 2, and these are the subjects, or I guess topics, that we've looked at in what we will review today. So let's look at partial sums method. You can number these in your page as 1, and when we get to the example, you can also number it as 1. Trade first subtraction method, trading first. Converting units from, for example, centimeters to meters, or from inches to feet. Place value, ones, 10,000, 100,000, and so on. Magnitude estimates, okay, where you circle if the answer or the product will be in the hundreds and the thousands, and so on. Probability, likely, unlikely, extremely likely, impossible. Expanded notation, when you have a number and you add the value of each number. Analyzing data, mean, median, mode, range. And word problems, looking at word problems or number sentences, number stories, and identifying the information that you need and the computation that you'll need to make. Okay, so let's start with partial sums method. So let's use the partial sums method to add 3,058 plus 2,182. We have to add each value, okay? So instead of starting from the right side like we normally do with an equation, we're going to start from the left side. So we're going to say, what is the value of this number? Is 3,000, and this one is 2,000. So 3,000 plus 2,000 is 5,000. And then the next one, 0 plus 100 is simply 100. And then the next place is, the place value is 50 plus 80 is 130. So you write 130. And then 8 plus 2 is 10. And you simply write the number 10. And go ahead and you add it. You get 0, 4, 2, and 5. So your answer is 5,240. This, boys and girls, is the partial sums method. Now let's look at the trade first subtraction method with this question. We do know that if we were to subtract 247 minus 186, we could just simply go ahead and subtract it from right to left, as we would normally do. So 7 minus 6 is 1, and then 4 minus 8, 4 does not have enough, so it has to borrow. Okay, it has to borrow 1, so it'll become 14, and the 2 become the 1. Okay, the 2 becomes 1. So 14 minus 8 is 6, and then 1 minus 1 is, and your answer would be 61. This is the traditional way, but when we do the trade first, we actually do all of this beforehand, and it looks like this. We know that here we don't have to borrow anything for the 7, because the 7 has enough to take this for the 6 to take away. So we understand that that would be 1. But when we continue on, we know that something's going to have to change here. So before you do anything, before you even do this one, you must trade first. So you understand that the 2 will become a 1, and the 4 will become a 14, and that is what we call trading first. And now we're ready to go ahead and subtract. So 7 minus 6 is 1, or minus 8. I'm sorry, 14 minus 8 is 6, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So our answer would be 61, and this is what we mean by trade first. Do all of this first. Now we're going to look at converting units. Okay, converting units. Right here, we're converting some units in the customary system, or what they call, some people call it the imperial system, or U.S. customary. What's the other one? Standard system. It's got multiple names, but let's use customary system because that is what I learned to use in the U.S. Converting units. So we have 12 inches equals 1 foot. 3 feet equal 1 yard, and 5,280 feet is 1 mile. If, for example, I was telling you a story of how long I had to walk to school, let's say I walked to school this morning, which I never do, but let's pretend I did, and I wanted to say I walked 1 mile. You're probably in your head, you're going to hear the number 1, and you're going to think, oh, that's not very far, Mr. Mendez. But if I told you I walked 5,280 feet to school this morning, it sounds like a lot more, doesn't it? So think about this, of how you can make something sound like a lot more or a lot less. If I could say my shoe size is exactly 1 foot, or I could say my shoe size is 12 inches, you're probably, in your head, you're going to think it's a lot bigger. So you'll come across a question similar to this in the test that is referring to converting, okay? In a story, somebody talks about only being able to jump 1 yard, but this is not the test question, by the way. This is another idea. But if you say I can jump 3 feet, 3 feet sounds like a lot more, doesn't it? Or you can do it the other way around. If you don't want to make something sound too far, like you can ask Mr. Mendez, how far is your house? And I can say, oh, I live really close to the school. I'm only 1 mile away. Because I want to make it sound like it's close, right? I don't want to make it sound far away, but if I want to make it sound far away, I'll say 5,280 feet. Although they're all equal. They're all equal, right? 5,280 feet is 1 mile. But it sounds like less when we say 1 mile, doesn't it? Okay, let's look at place value. So for place value, here we have place value. This is what we mean. You have to put these numbers where they go, okay? Now here, boys and girls, we got lucky with this one. We have no decimals. Sometimes people struggle working with decimals. But don't forget that if there's no decimal written, the decimal is right at the end of the number, right there. And then it would start with tenths, hundredths, thousands. But we start with the ones. Tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million. Okay, let's solve this. Go ahead and pause the video now and solve this. And in 3 seconds, check your answer. I'm letting you work on it. I'm not going to put the answer yet. Please do it. Pause it now. Okay, I hope you paused it and now you're checking your answer. Let's see. It wants us to put the 7 in the 10 millions. We just agreed that this was 1 million and this is the 10 million. So 7 in the 10 millions. There's our 7. 2 in the tens place. We know that this is ones, this is tens. So that would be our 2. 4 in the 100,000. Ones, tens, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000. Okay. 6 in the ones place. That one's easy, all the way right. And 5 in all the other places. 5, 5, 5, and 5. And that's our number. Okay. Write this in numeral words. Sorry, write this numeral in words. So you would write 75 million, right? Right here you would write it with letters. 75,455,526. And that's place value, boys and girls.